New moon in Aries, how we come. Are you excited? Are you ready? Are you nervous? Let's get into how this moon is going to affect each of our zodiac signs, what those themes are, and how we can balance it. Hi guys, welcome back to YILDIZ Readings 5D. For those of you that don't know me from a bar of soap, I'm a psychic medium, I'm a twin flame coach. I cover astrology, moon energy, and psychic channeled messages. If you feel this vibe is really your tribe, please come along and join us for up-to-date information relating to how this moon energy is going to affect your zodiac sign. You can stream forward and stream back, and it has the elements as well as the zodiac placements. Stay tuned for the most up-to-date information and your chakra reports inside this. Without further ado, let's get into the energy of this moon and how it can affect your zodiac sign. Love and light, guys. Let's get into it. We are here to talk about the new moon in Aries that is occurring on the 11th, and it is very much a very brand new beginning. So I want to get you forearmed, forewarned, ready for this new energy. It has been a pretty hectic astrological frequency that we've been moving through, especially from the previous moon, which was the full moon in Libra. That may have been for some of you quite purgatory. This is, from an astrological point of view, the first new moon of the lunar cycle, of the new lunar year. So it is a very brand new beginning. And ironically enough, we do have Aries and Chiron, the wounded healer, making aspects in our lives. So the way we're going to be coming through with this, moving towards the new moon and moving out of that phase of the new moon, is needing to set new intentions. And a lot of coaching I've been doing, preparing clients for this transit, is a very exciting time. It's highly energetic, so you will have more energy than you had last month. But it's really navigating and redirecting that energy into the correct areas of life. And it will potentially require you to have tunnel vision, and I'll explain why. Tunnel vision, not from a perspective of an egoic situation, but from a very controlled alchemy point of view of pouring that base chakra energy into the areas of life that require it. You can get nervous, and we always say in the spiritual community, when you get nervous, focus on purpose. And it's service. So it's what are you needing to do with that? And a lot of times, especially because it's in the area of Venus, it's transiting the sun, the moon, all of these areas are coming up, especially Mercury, where our thoughts and actions are very Mars in nature. Now, being that it's a brand new energy, we need to end a cycle to have a new cycle. The anticipation frequency moving into this new moon can be a bit highly charged. And that's due to the fact we all have Aries and Chiron there for 7 years, and it's hitting our natal charts individually, where it's stirring up a hornet's nest. But it's some challenges can come through, and that's merely because we could be telling ourselves, relating to not only our emotions, which is moon, Mercury, our actions and our feelings and our thoughts, Mars, which currently is in Gemini until the 23rd, which is our day-to-day routine, what we're learning, what we're, really pouring our energy into. It's sort of like a caffeine overdrive, right? So we've gone from the psychology of Pisces energy through to the energy and the intent of actually having to do something at a foundational level. Now, it is linked to the Muladhara chakra, and I hope I've actually pronounced it correctly, but it's base chakra. So it can be very passionate, very fiery. It's our drive and our ambition. You can have a bit of sacral chakra coming up as well, which can be passion, but we need to direct it in a healthy fashion towards those areas in our chart, which I will discuss further in this video. But I wanted to get us prepared for how we can be relating to this transit and the moon energy. It is very beneficial, but it can be a little bit frightening because many of us that don't look at the element of astrology don't have that as a nav man and a map to understand what directly is happening. The good thing is we're going to have more energy than we did last month, so it does mean we can achieve some of those goals. Being that it's a new moon, we can be going into things with the unknown. Some of it we already know, some of it we're having to reset that intention. And it's not just going to be in the placements, we do need to look at it in the house of Venus also. So this will relate to your money, your stability, your home, your well-being, and other areas, which, as I said, I will get into. So I would strongly advise, using red crystals, balancing your base chakra, having enough fluid, because this week moving into this phase, we are going to be having transits linking to Pisces, which is still the 12th house, and we can get nervous. Focus on purpose. So the tunnel vision, as an analogy, is really to help you navigate through this to get to the other side of that, to achieve your dreams. At points, you may be second guessing yourself. At points, you may be saying to yourself, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Can I do it? Do I have the tools? And it's moving beyond that point and having tunnel vision. Know what you want, know what you need to do, and focus on that energy and look at it as the end goal. Try not to put a time frame on it, but just have an intent and push the energy towards it. If other things that are outside of your control are really stirring up like a hornet's nest, you're far better to use all that chi energy on something you directly can control. So just temporarily have a psychological break from that of what is outside of your control and shift that energy into alchemy, into what you can control and where that energy is best served just for this moment right now. On the other side of it, we will have a 2-week energy. We're also this month going to be having Pluto going retrograde, and we're moving towards a full moon in Scorpio, which we will do that video separately. But it's very underrealm in nature. So endings, new beginnings, setting our intention, looking at this as a vibrational new year for us, to, not be so hard on ourselves. That generally, half the time we find that when we move into January, February, March, it really feels like we're in the training wheels. It really feels like we're not in that new year. And that's because in the lunar cycle, it does start this month. So it's that brand new energy coming through, that brand new brand new moon coming through of the new year in the house of Aries. With the previous moon, there might have been, you're dragging some of that stuff with you. So through this process to the new moon in Aries, some of the fair-based frequency can be to do with imbalances, the psychology that come up for us. It might have been showing us the neon sign on the wall, so to speak, of what needs addressing, but we will get into that in a moment. So the key things I would highly suggest is get your base chakra balanced. Faith and courage can come down to, again, faith is that of what you know you're made of, and sometimes we can second guess that, especially because Aries and Chiron is in the first house placement collectively. So again, know what you are, know what you're made of, and, move into the situation. Also be in awareness that agitation can come up, number 2. So it won't just be for you, it will be for everyone, especially as we move to Mars transiting into the house of Cancer, which is its detriment. So there might be things to do with stability and family and home, wounds, things that are hidden coming to the surface. It's temporary. But having the tools to be in awareness of that can help you move through the transit more effectively. Empaths collectively may wish to avoid circumstances that are tense. We may find that if we have a blockage, it can come up during this time temporarily, due to the fact that maybe we are in lack mentality. But again, it can be challenging, but this is going to be very liberating. It's going to be a very beautiful energy, through that process, when you have this revelation that yes, you are worthy, and yes, you can achieve these things. Yes, stability, love and passion can be there. And as we move towards embodying that, we are moving towards the brand new beginning of that. So base chakra number 1, balance. Looking at home stability, finances, addressing those areas. 2, clear your home. Doing an energy clearing, create a base that is very neutral, to do your meditation or to have a quiet space to heal. Number 3, What would another thing be? Coaching. Definitely, I will try and be with you guys through this process and give you the tips per zodiac sign so that you can cope with it. And I do also coaching. I will be with you guys every Friday for the updates, for the energy updates, both within the members zone and on YouTube for any other things that I do separately to the twin flame update. So without further ado, we will get into the zodiac signs and I will give you an update of potential things that can come up and the exciting things as well. Love and light, guys. Let's get into it. It would only be fitting that we do the fire signs first, considering this is a new moon in Aries. So I have started this video off with the fire signs. So it is going to be Aries, a Leo, Sagittarius. Let's get into your energy for the fire signs for this transit and the new moon. Aries, your first house placement. This is and can be a very emotional time for you individually. First house placement, plus the fact that this year Mars is transiting through various signs. So at the moment, with Mars being in Gemini, you have areas surrounding that, plus we have the North Node of Gemini, and this being a brand new beginning, moving into it, it can feel deeply emotional. Now, we did just move away from the full moon in Libra, which does link into your marriages, contracts, partnerships, which is very much anything to do with your work, your love life, the luxuries you have. And shifting those things about. So again, because it is the first house placement for this new moon in Aries, it can feel very emotional. But it also can be, it can feel a little bit like moving into it. It's an existential crisis. Who are you? What do you do? What was done in the past? And what is this new beginning going to be? And sometimes you may feel moving into this energy a little bit frightened, a little bit agitated, or very, very liberated, very, feeling yourself. And, so it can come through two ways for you. But it will directly be your place in it. How, why, what, where, with your money, with your love, and how those areas are impacting you and having to address it head on. So, just move easy into it. You may find it's a very private time for you. You might need some time to reflect and time to think as you're having that rebirth. And you may find that your personality through this month can be shifting, especially when it does come to your communication. Now, Mars is currently in Gemini until the 23rd. Then it will transit into the house of Cancer, which is your fourth house. So at the moment, it is to do with your daily activities, the way you're showing up, how you communicate, what your learnings are. But you may have had a very busy schedule. And on top of that, being that the new moon is coming, it's all the action that you can take and the power within your life that you can alchemize. So have faith in yourself. Try not to second guess yourself. Be gentle through that rebirth. Leo, my beautiful Leos. Now for you guys, the last few weeks, both with full moon in Libra, which was transiting your third house, very similar, a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot of movements, a lot of things you needed to do to create balance. And it did feel like everything was on you, especially in your communication house. It's very Mercury in nature. Some of the things you may have taken very personal within communications and felt that life may have been a little bit imbalanced. Moving towards this phase with the new moon, you may be looking at your career sector, finalizing things, bringing in new beginnings, and what all that hard work means with what you already have. It's very linked also to what would I say, the ninth house, Jupiter in energy. So with your expansion and how you're feeling to do with your value systems, there could be subjects coming up between, are you understood? Do you feel heard? Can you go the distance? With the way you are moving towards connections, you could be questioning the element of a connection going to the next level. It is beautiful that it is a new moon, and because the moon does link to this area, and it's very much of a spiritual nature, especially with Aquarius in your seventh house, and it is Venus at the moment. So what do I mean by that? If you are questioning your career sector, your movement forward, if you've got what it takes, please don't second guess yourself. It's a temporary energy. Challenge it, move into the energy, have faith in yourself and address it. As we move towards the full moon in Scorpio, subjects to do with home can be coming up, but we will touch base with that a little bit later. But definitely with that, the balancing and the running about that you've had to do, the unfairness and injustices, trying to create balance has been a little bit testing for you. And as you know, really pay attention to your health as well. You know, your well-being, your health, that can be coming up in this transit with Pluto going into shadow. And with the new moon in Aries, key themes will come up to do with education, religion, foreign countries, travel. And you do really need the balance of both Aries and Libra. And currently, it's also transiting Venus. So wider group energy and what's going to be best for the bigger picture. The thing is, it's a little bit like the analogy I use. If a plane's going down, we can't, you know, if we can't be there for ourselves and we don't know what we want, we can't be there for anyone else. And it does feel quite personal in a sense that you may have been needing to care or help or, you know, look at the bigger picture in circumstances. But now it's really pushing you towards having faith in yourself, that you can go the distance, that you do have the skills, and really put yourself out there, so to speak. So a real great time to put your resumes out, a real good time to set new intentions and know that you are, for those of you that are single, that you can have a connection that will go the distance, and have faith in that process. But definitely you could be having guides around you at the moment that are working with you. So if you need coaching, please come through. Sagittarius, now we had that full moon in Libra, which was really connecting in with your social endeavors, your hopes and dreams and aspirations, and you may have found it quite difficult to balance those areas, and it might have been quite challenging and very busy. Some of you may have felt circumstances weren't quite balanced with friendship groups, and some of you may be purging certain groups. Some of you may have been looking at social pastimes that they don't really resonate with you. And those circumstances leading up to this new moon in Aries are going to hit your fifth house. So this can be anything to do with productivity, luxuries. It can relate to finances. So, you know, setting a new intention and actually challenging the elephant in the room. It may be at a financial level, you're wanting to do more social things and wanting to have a balance between your finances, your romance, looking after children if you have children, and both with the connections and the pastimes, it might be a bit of a juggling act. Now, with this new moon in Aries, it's going to give you an opportunity to almost do some bookkeeping and have a look at those dynamics and say, okay, from a financial point of view, what new energy do I need to bring in? Some things can come to a head leading into it, but it will push you towards that new beginning. Now, psychologically on the home front, also last month, some of that would have been a little bit testing on the nerves. What you are going to find is you can actually be more playful when it does come to your inner child, your creative pursuits, and you're going to have a lot more energy to pour into those areas. And so this can be exercise, diet, getting those things back on track to have that balance there. I also feel, due to the fact we currently have Mars in Gemini, at the moment until the 23rd, there can be a double whammy when it does come to communication with, you know, loved ones. That is, it will either flow through very fluidly, or you can be very agitated and unable to articulate how you directly are feeling. It should balance out, and it could have also been a deep time for passion and to connecting with individuals from the past. As we move through that new moon in Aries, you can have some wounds relating to your childhood coming up. So definitely inner child wounds, balance the yellow chakra, and again, the base chakra. So as you move through this, new pursuits, it can be a very fertile time for you as well. So, you know, if you're not wanting children, please be careful. As we move forward, you will be setting new intentions, and those things that you're wanting to achieve are becoming possible. Some of you also could have subjects relating to home-based businesses, launching a new career, and again, it would be a great time to put resumes out. Next up, we're going to do the air signs, and that's due to the fact we have just moved through that full moon in Libra and now towards the new moon in Aries. So for you guys, for collectively, the shadow sign of Aries is Libra. So it's only natural that we should do the air signs next. So that's Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Now, as I mentioned, for you guys, Libra, this has been a pretty rough few decades, and this really is a brand new year. 2020 was really rough on all of us collectively. Moving forward, a lot of us can be having this thought process, is it ever going to be better than this? Yes, it is. This is, however, a number 5 vibration year, and there are a lot of challenges and changes, but it is for the betterment of the next few decades moving forward. So please don't get into that mindset that things aren't going to be moving forward and be a bed of roses. It's not, everything's perfect, and I don't feel that you guys collectively wish everything to be perfect, but we do want it to be more emotionally balanced. Now, because we do have Aries and Chiron, it actually does link to your Venus house, so it's very natural that both the full moon in Libra and the new moon in Aries can feel very emotional. It also can be a very passionate time, so you can waver between being very passionate and vivacious to very insecure and feeling very triggered. You know, at times you can feel a little bit unnatural in this domain, and we do need to be really cautious of Marsing people, and that can be if healthy boundaries aren't adhered to, especially for those of you that are empaths in nature, because you're very balanced and fair with the scales. Those things have changed over the last 4 years, and definitely your zodiac sign collectively have changed in its innate demeanor, but it is a very tense energy moving into it, but it is very exciting nevertheless. So some of you can have challenges because you can have love coming towards you, and this can make you feel that patterns are repeating, and what if this or that happens, and it's being open to brand new beginnings and what they are. Sometimes when we hear the term an ending and a new beginning, we feel it's over completely, but it is because after that full moon in Libra, there may have felt like a piece of your life had shred away and died, and you are being reborn and then facing your shadow. And the shadow sign for you guys is Aries. So you have the wound relating to that house. We have the energy of Venus transiting your house, and we also have it with the Sun and Mercury as well. So it's a very busy frequency. It can feel a little bit like we've had way too much caffeine. It's very base chakra in nature, and it is a rebirth in these domains. So if you feel tested towards your work, your career, your foundation, your stability, and you're taking actions, addressing them head on, you know, in healthy ways preferably. You can use heart chakra clearing because it is Venus in nature. You can do base chakra balancing. And anything to do with the sacral chakra and solar plexus. Your nervous system might be a little bit shocked through this, but as you move through it, I do feel you guys will actually see that there is a brand new energy coming into the horizon, and by dealing with these circumstances in different fashions, it can balance out. The other area you may find that is coming up for you will be the house of Cancer, and that's because later on this month we are having Mars transit into the house of Cancer, and some of you as empaths may be feeling that already. The busyness is very much coming from Mars in Gemini at the moment, and that can be to do with your spiritual values, your belief systems, and you can be moving through that very fiercely and very firmly. So transformations in that area and communication is the key. We just need to be cautious not to overthink and overanalyze, because it is Mercury in nature and it's connected to Mars. As it transits to Cancer, your career can really bounce off. It would be a great week to set those new intentions, move through the moon first, and then be open to those new beginnings. If you're wanting coaching, come through. Otherwise, let's get on to the next zodiac sign. Gemini, we've been having Mars transiting your first house. So you may have felt more energized and more direct with individuals. It is transiting out of your first house and moving into your second house, and that can be a really great time for finances. It's very important to balance and create healthy boundaries at the moment. Now, that full moon in Libra, there may have been emotions relating to your inner child, to do with your own children, potentially, creative pursuits, and trying to get the balance back in those areas. And also to do with family and give and take, and being able to have those luxuries in your life, that work-life balance. And you guys really have worked incredibly hard. Having the North Node in your zodiac sign is pretty testing, so my love and compassion towards you, but trust me on this, you will really appreciate it by next year. You'll be a very different individual. At the moment, moving away from that full moon in Libra is going to give you some reprieve, but it can be emotional, and you can be maybe even questioning whether you're going to have some of your hopes and dreams, whether money is going to come towards you. Please, please, please challenge it. Move beyond the wound, because you are going to be a complete success, but you can also have fair relating to friendship groups, fair relating to people maybe taking advantage of you, opening up and, actually allowing people to work with you. If they don't, try not to take it personal. It's more about them than you, but there are beautiful horizons coming for you, and this can be the wealth of abundance. So if you have been working incredibly hard, you may find this month, towards the end, moving into the following month, you could really reap rewards. Now, in your relationship sector as well, again, I would state it is very much connected to healthy boundaries and to really pace yourself through this. Yes, we need to put blood, sweat and tears into circumstances, but you also must pay attention to your health, especially towards the middle part of the month, moving towards the end of the month, as we have that full moon in Scorpio. It is very much connecting in with your health sector and pets. And things that are hidden can come to the forefront. So a really great time if you're a feminine or a masculine to have health checks well and truly before that transit hits, and to really pace yourself and look after yourself through that process. Now, many Aquarians are having a sudden return. So regardless of the fact this video is in relation to that new moon in Aries, it has been a pretty challenging time because you have both Saturn and Jupiter in your first house placement. We also have Pluto in Capricorn in your 12th house, which is set to come through. So don't be surprised if suddenly a lot of psychology comes up for you. You feel foggy and fatigued, confused and agitated. There can be that element there. Keeping that balance and equilibrium can come through as a necessity. It would be a good time to keep your fluid up, to clear your crown chakra, and to be cautious around the people that you feel most comfortable with, due to the fact that sometimes that Capricorn energy can really stir up a hornet's nest. Now, we do have at the moment Mars transiting your 5th house, so creative pursuits, hobbies, having fun, getting those things done, that's really coming through for you. The full moon in Libra for you guys did hit your 9th house, and there might have been feelings to do with loved ones that are passed over, your value systems, what was happening in the globe collectively. Media can really affect you at the moment. So, value systems, marriage, emotions, purgatory experiences and thought processes to do with what you feel something should look like. This can also be if you have the ability to balance those things out and where things were unfair in the past. Now that we're moving towards this new moon in Aries, it does connect in with your 3rd house. I would say with your actions, you may be second guessing yourself to do with movement. Some of you may have wanted to travel. Some of you may also have, if you have, those things are to tie up loose ends at a spiritual level, to make your peace and to gain a different perspective. But you can be in fear that you may not be able to do that. Also, from a separate level, this third house activation with the new moon in Aries could usher in a brand new vehicle. So pay attention to your driving. Make sure that if you are traveling, you have all your ducks in a row. You're really keeping an eye on the traffic, because with the North Node in Gemini and Mars in Gemini, people can be more inclined to have accidents. But you can feel as though people don't understand your viewpoint, and you can be coming through quite firmly. I do feel if you have had an emotion relating to something somebody has said, this can be coming up, but it can be a beautiful time to clear the air and make peace with individuals and have brand new beginnings. And by moving through that, it could be anything to do with public speaking, emotions relating to it, if people would understand what you're saying. Nevertheless, there are some beautiful transits coming up for these things to happen, and I do see this to be quite positive in nature. If you were studying and wanted to change, it might be coming up in your mind's eye at the moment. So if you do feel you need to upskill, do it on a very short-term course basis. Try not to jump the gun right away. It is the South Node, and sometimes we can merely be looking at the element of this being a number 5 vibration, which is a lot of hard work. So try to address it and have a look at it and sit with it for a little bit before you jump ship. Now we're moving on towards the water signs, and that is due to the fact we had a lot of Pisces energy last month. We also have the moon energy coming through, and most of these signs are deeply intuitive, and we will have them somewhere in our chart. So we will be looking at Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Okay, Cancer, let's have a look at your zodiac sign. Now, this is a unique few months for you, and that's due to the fact Mars is going to move into Cancer on the 23rd. But we are going to discuss the element of the last moon moving towards this new moon, plus the fact that we do have Aries and Chiron, the wounded healer. So for you guys individually, subjects to do with running around, getting things done, balance, trying to really alchemize that, and anything home related may have been coming up at that full moon in Libra. And moving towards this new beginning, you are feeling a little bit challenged between spreading yourself like butter. Now, work can be very active. This can be a really great month for your employment sector, but you may need to keep quite grounded, but you're going to have a lot more energy to be able to achieve it. You could hit some walls moving forward, where you might meet a pocket of energy that you do feel a little bit unstable and maybe second guessing yourself. Some of you may even reach a promotion point. But in the 10th house placement, it is very much to do with the way people are seeing you. It could be your reputation. It might be people actually honoring you for the things that you're doing. Now, you have wounds linking there. So during this time, you may second guess yourself, be it it's a project you're doing or the way people are seeing you or your direct employment. Even seeking employment at this point is a real good time to do such. There could be emotions coming up between push, pull, and balance. And especially as we move towards mid-month and towards the end, which I will be back again to do an update, feel free to jump through and get some coaching if you're needing it, or you want me to look at your chart. Because as we have Mars move into the house of Cancer, you'll have a lot of energy feeling like everything's coming at you. But you also may feel very vivacious or outspoken, especially because you have the North Node in Gemini at the moment in your 12th house. It might have been quite a testing time at a psychological level with the amount of things that you were needing to do. But you do have a beautiful analytical mind, and you can actually, and you will find that you're a jack of all trades, so you will be able to multitask. But just be mindful that you can speak your truth and try to keep as grounded as possible. But there can be magnification in the areas of your career sector. Hi, beautiful Scorpio. Let's help you navigate the matrix of this new moon and how to keep your nervous system and everything intact. Now, paperwork could be a major dynamic playing out at the moment. It could also be anything to do with your fears relating to people accepting you, deeper intimacy, endings, new beginnings, and what that means. Now, it is for 8th house placement can also be to do with your inheritances, your ability to bounce back. It's also being that you're a Scorpio, we're heading towards after this new moon, a full moon in Scorpio, and emotionally you may have, you know, situations relating to that. So with Aries hitting your 8th house, it's innately a very scorpionic energy. It's very Pluto and Scorpion in nature. So you may feel that you are, how would I put it? May be unable to achieve that, but it's about letting people in and trusting the process, but also having faith that an ending is a new beginning. And I do feel for some of you, you could be really in a 50-50 situation and wondering what to do, especially when it comes to love, romance, friendship groups, and money. So just try and keep grounded, have faith in the process. If there's anything you're needing to do, attempt to address it. If you do need coaching, feel free to come through. Now, there might have been a lot of needs to be balanced, and maybe due to circumstances over the last few weeks, and especially near that full moon in Libra, you may have felt that things were you were trying to do the right thing to make everything fair and balanced. And there's really, you know, as long as we're showing up in the world in a balanced sense, we can't really, you know, believe that everyone else is going to be, and we can't also overcompensate for those individuals. There might be a lesson involved in that where you realize you can't be everything to everyone. And also, we do have our good days and our bad days. So just be gentle with yourself and understand that that's fine. But you are moving towards a brand new beginning, and you will have the mind bravery to be able to achieve such. And you could find that money that is owed to you during this time can actually come back. Okay, Pisces, let's have a look at how this new moon in Aries is going to be transforming your world. Now, as I mentioned, although it's a new moon and it can be a very brand new beginning, we are coming to terms with these transits as we move towards the new moon. It's not automatically, it happens in 24 hours. It's an emotion that we are moving through in a lesson and a growth point of view. And then as we are able to address it, we can move forward. But there is a new energy coming through when it does come to your income and your self-esteem. So this can be a new way money is coming through to you. It can also be getting on top of bills and having finances in order. And it also can be to do with the element of cash component and self-esteem. Now, the full moon in Libra that we had was to do with your balance of emotions and letting people in, and balance as a give and take, and also can be to do with endings. It's very Pluto in energy. So especially with the heavy Pisces energy last month, you still may be recovering. Now, we do need to be cautious of the second house when it does come to emotions. So some of us can use pacifiers to cope with energy. It can be either through throat chakra, and it'd be a really good time to clear your throat chakra. It could be through eating, drinking, you know, doing those things to cope with energy. It's a great time to actually journal and to express how you feel and try to have confidence, but coming from a place of heart. So I would definitely say heart chakra balance and getting anchored in and grounded. Now, big transformations are set in your 11th house, and this can be a lot of growth, but assessing it, and you may be changing your opinion to do with things. So it can be a pretty challenging time. Home may have been somewhere you stayed for a while. Some of you may have had home changes, family changes and movement, and it might have been quite a social time where you're still recovering, so to speak, especially when it came to children, you know, your day-to-day routine. It may have been a very busy time. Be super careful driving, because you have, at the moment, we have Mars in Gemini, so pay attention to the roads as you're driving, because there can be lack of concentration, because we do have the North Node in Gemini as well as Mars in Gemini. So really take your time. You can be a little bit more prone to accidents, being in awareness, and it can be other people as well, because collectively we do have that placement there, so it can cause issues with movement. I am seeing that with the second house, you know, these things this week can be emotional. It can also be to do with your health, wanting to keep things in balance. And some of you might be changing over and trying to get balanced out your diet, your nutrition. Things that are hidden might come up to the surface. This may have already happened, or it could come to a head where you can be getting results and things to that degree. Not that I'm a medical practitioner, you'd need to seek a professional for that, but it is a real good time to actually get checkups, and that can be for fem checks and things to that degree, and men as well. The lower base chakra energies can come up, so I would say both throat chakra and a base chakra. Okay, beautiful earth signs, last but not least, this is for Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn. Let's have a look at how this new moon in Aries is transforming your lives. Hi, beautiful Taurus. Let's have a look, dolls, at your chart. Now, this has been a unique and tough year, and there's a lot of transformations, and you guys always aim for that stability, but because we have Uranus and Taurus, it's actually pushing you quite hard to have that transformation and to trust the process. Now, the full moon in Libra was hitting your 6th house, and this can be to do with themes to do with pets. It can be balance, the way people are seeing you. So, you know, it might have been a tough time, especially with circumstances that were unhealthy boundaries. 6th house placement can be a lot of unhealthy boundaries and injustices relating to that. Some of you, yes, it may have been legalities that is deliberate in nature, but however you're dealing with it, you may find that these things can start balancing out. Now, whatever you're moving towards and whatever decisions majorly you're needing to make when it does come to your relationships, your friendship groups, your career sector, your money, your mind may be the block at the moment. So getting in balance, understanding that you have all the abilities to become successful, and that yes, transformations and can be changing things, especially because we do have that full moon in Scorpio. It can be deep changes happening in the relationship sector for you guys, and it can be to do with deeper intimacy and give and take. So at the moment, I would say definitely balance your crown chakra. If you do have fear-based frequency and an activity, it would be really keep the fluid up. You can use amethyst, you can use clear quartz to keep clear in mind. You can use tourmaline to support your system. And if you're feeling inactive, definitely balance out the lower 3 chakras, base chakra, solar plexus and sacral chakra, and that will give you the oomph you need. Mars should be bringing energy, but it's better in the body than in the mind. If you have creative ideas, write them down, and your belief systems can be changing over the next 2 weeks. So go easy with it. Try to tackle tasks as you can, you know, journal down, write things down and complete tasks. And then when you're resting, you're going to feel more rested, especially if it is starting to interfere with your sleep. It could be supercharged, and you also could be gaining momentum when it does come to your income and movement forward. Have faith. Hi, beautiful Virgos. Let's have a look at how this new moon in Aries is moving through your chart. Now, there's something very deep and personal changing within your chart, and that new moon in Aries is hitting your 8th house placement, and it can be a rebirth, so to speak. Some of you on a more spiritual, esoteric level might be having vivid dreams, and, you know, fears relating to the other side. It also can be channeled messages from your guides, but there is a rebirth here. Some of you are learning how to trust to let people in. This can be a lot of self-worth energy coming through and growth, but it's also about building trust and intimacy. But there can be circumstances that you're looking at in your life that you're wanting to create a very firm foundation. And some of you in the past may have been looking at the financial element of things and things not being fair, and that might have been on your side or a partner's side. It might be yours in a workplace, but there is a transformation happening in the employment area, and definitely a brand new beginning. So moving through this energy, having faith in yourself, of the give and take and the lessons that we learn relating to the 8th house placement, it is huge development. So give yourself a pat on the back. This is a time where you can actually get more income coming to you, especially in the give and take. And it's about creating that foundation that you can directly depend on. And I'll give you a few examples. For some, it can be if you're working and you need something very firm to depend on. It might be getting the office set up and having an internet provider that you pay the fee and you get something out of it. It might be daycare for children or something to that degree. But it's definitely a firm, permanent foundation, something you can directly, it's a healthy codependency house. So there is a reshaping happening in your life, and in the past, potentially it may have been imbalanced and you may have had wounds there, but this is a brand new beginning, and this can also be an ending of the way you do something connecting to your relationship sector, an ending to a situation in the way give and take is, but it's a shake up and it's a change. So it's a new beginning because it is the new moon. But through this time frame up till the new moon, you can feel as though you're tuning into it and you're wanting to change those areas. Beautiful Capricorn, interesting month this shall be, because we're also having Pluto going in shadow. You're going to feel it this week. You could be feeling it very much at a very personal level, so don't be surprised if you go a little bit quieter than usual. Now, balance at work and changes in that sector potentially were coming through during that full moon in Libra, and maybe the give and take imbalances and or opportunities if you were looking for work weren't really coming through the way you felt. You may have felt that things were all over the shop for those of you that were working. And now moving towards this new moon in Aries, some of you could be looking at stability and home, which really does make sense. Some of you could be looking at renovating, changing things up. This could be physical house movement, or it could be changes in the domain of, how do I put it? The way you give and take in connection. So it can be your social activities. It might be your day-to-day routine, your organisation. You may find that some of that has gone on the back burner and you're wanting to rejig it now. And sometimes this can also be you guys working from home. And how would you do that? How would you achieve that balance? I do feel there is a lot to do with inner child potentially coming up here and co-creative endeavors, and by balancing it you potentially will get the best out of it. Some of you, this is a very new beginning though in this department. So 4th house can be anything to do with your psychological foundation, any domestic issues. It can be endings and new beginnings. It can be home related. It can be your daily routine of the hustle and bustle to work, do the laundry, washing, and how you balance those things. And it's very developmental to a degree. So it's asking you to go back to that base level, and new changes can be coming up. But it may be to have more success. It might be simplifying home. It could be physically moving. This also is a brand new beginning. It depends on how it lands for you guys, but I do feel you could be really thinking very quietly as to, you know, how you feel in relation to family, how you feel in relation to your daily routine, and it could be a little bit of Groundhog Day, but emotionally you could feel something is changing in you due to the fact that Pluto is gearing up ready to go retrograde, and it is very much your 1st house placement, so you could become quite quiet and yeah, maybe even getting frustrated at your routine and needing to have a bit of a reorganize and shuffle and get that sorted ASAP so that you can get back into balance. Now, each time we have these videos, I am doing a little bit of a chat and a small guided meditation to get you guys in the zone and prepared for this transit. Now, as I mentioned, this can be a very triggering time and it can be a hugely liberating time. So when you get nervous, focus on service and the areas I've mentioned in your chart. Now, we are going to go quietly into this energy and sit for a moment and get grounded. Take a deep breath in. Plant your feet on the floor. Closing your eyes and taking slow breaths. Breathing very slowly, we are trusting the process. We're releasing what doesn't serve us. We're understanding fear is not control. It's based on the past. It does not define us. It is not real. Breathing out your worries, taking a deep breath of relief, and doing these breathing exercises, deep breaths in, holding it, slow breaths out. It will give you a light-headed sensation. Now practice that step during this month. When you get nervous, do such, and it will lighten the energy. We're gradually going to come out of this. We can breathe in and breathe out again. Planting our feet firm on the floor. We're going to open our eyes and we're going to sit for a moment. Now during the month, if you are feeling triggered, you can jump on. I'm here every Friday. I also am in the members zone more regularly than Friday. Where I can, I will come to you guys live to support all of you individually. If you do need a booking, you can go to the link directly below. Do remember that for particular zodiac signs, and mainly it will be base chakra, it can be very passionate. We are also going to be having Pluto retrograde, so it's a challenging time, but it is a new beginning time. So have faith in the process. If you need coaching, feel free to come through. You're not alone. We're all together in this. Love and light, guys. I'll see you next week.